What's up, everyone? I am Keith Flemming. I'm joined, as always, by the fantabulous, amazing Kacey Kasem as we
Hi.
break down the stats you need to know for week 4. Last week, we said you should avoid the Browns' run defense, pick up Cam Scattaboo. Browns held the Packers to, I had to double check this, 55 yards on 25 carries. And Scattaboo was running back 5 for week 3. You might be asking yourself, do we know the future? After, confirming with counsel, we can neither confirm or deny that. But each week we'll be breaking down some of the stats you need to know, and hopefully they will be as beneficial as those, right, Casey?
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully you're taking notes. Get your pen, get your paper out. Let's go. We've got some good ones for you today. Keith is a man of many hats, but finding stats is his best.
To the Nerdmobile. Let's start this week with, I think, the most surprising offense in football. The Indianapolis Colts.
Woo.
And on my bingo card, I did not have this historical comparison, but they have only punted once in their first 3 games, scoring on a ridiculous 77% of their offensive possessions this year. That is the highest rate in 45 years. And it's been a long time when I wasn't quite yet born 45 years ago. So the last team to start 3-0 with having 5 or less turnovers, the 2007 New England Patriots. Ever heard of them? That was the team that went undefeated. And there's more comparisons than just that. The Pats, through 3 games, scored 114 points. These Colts have scored 103. Those Patriots in 2007, through 3 games, 70 first downs. These Colts, 75. And the total yards, the Patriots just over 1,300. The Colts, 1,256. I can't believe I'm comparing the Indianapolis Colts to the 2000 Patriots, but here we are,
Here we are.
2025, right?
It is 2025. We got some mind-blowing stuff going on right now, and staying on the Colts wagon right here. We're gonna
Yeah.
we're gonna talk about Indiana Jones. You guys
Yes.
and gals out there all know him. You all love him, I'm sure, for the most part. Daniel Jones, new nickname in town. For a third straight game, he threw a passing touchdown with no interceptions, and he's accounted for 6 touchdowns so far this season. 3 through the air, 3 on the ground. Here's a fun one for you. Daniel Jones went 7 of 9 for 130 yards and a touchdown on his pass attempts that went 10 plus air yards on Sunday. I mean, good. His completion percentage of such throws for the season is up to 65%. He was averaging 50%, over the first 6 seasons. Not now. And among quarterbacks, Jones ranks first in yards per pass attempt, expected points added, completion percentage versus zone, red zone rush attempts per game, and also top 5 in passing yards, deep passes completion percentage. That's a hard one to say.
Amen to
Clean
that.
pocket completion percentage, QBR. Oh, we've got more for you too. Adjusted yards per attempt, fantasy points per game, and expected fantasy points per game. Whew. So basically, what we're saying here is there's a lot of really good stuff under Daniel Jones's arsenal of stuff to put out there for you guys. I am just kind of enamored right now by that long list of accolades.
And the Giants fans are going, where the hell is that guy the last 6 years?
I mean, uh,
Maybe play calling matters. Who knew?
who knew?
So Ricky Purcell not only, has to be a show off that gets shot in the chest and comes back and plays football just in general, but he is having a real breakout season this year. Through 3 games among wide receivers, he is 4th in receiving yards per game, 14th in reception, 5th in yards per reception, 1st in yards per target, 11th in yards per route run, and 2nd in first down receptions.
Nice.
The Niners still have a ton of injuries, as we've seen. So I think that this is not a flash in the pan. This is an opportunity for him to take over sort of the biggest piece of the pie in this passing game. And Trent Williams, he's seen a lot of good receivers in his day, and he said that he thinks he's going to cement himself as one of the top receivers in the league soon, as somebody who has him in a ton of best ball drafts. I hope he's right.
And a player that lots of fantasy managers hope can be a top receiver in the league soon as well is Nico Collins. He actually broke out in week 3. We've been waiting for that. We got a stat line of 11 targets. He caught 8 of those for 104 yards and a touchdown, 22.4 fantasy points. He started off slow, okay, but he still ranks 3rd in dominator rating. He's 10th in target share and 1st in red zone target share. So lots
More
of
good to
positives
come.
going. Yeah.
Nico is a beast. I love that guy. I don't know what's up with the Texans passing game, but regardless, Collins will be okay. I don't know if I can say the same for Stroud. Another wide receiver who people were a little concerned last week, but he proved, whether it's Fields, whether it's Tyrod Taylor, he proved it with Aaron Rodgers last year. Garrett Wilson continues to just have such a huge piece of this New York Jets passing game on the season. 37% of their targets, 47% of their air yards. And if you look at the Jets wide receiver tight ends, just as a whole, they've scored 101.7 points in PPR formats. Wilson scored more than half of those at 55.9. That's 55% for those who, like me, struggled in math. Of all the wide receiver tight ends for just like one player, their share of it, that is by far the highest level in the NFL. No surprise, the 2 guys that come next on that list, Puka Nacua at 42% and JSN at 41%.
Well, we've got some more talking about those guys. Yeah. Through the first 3 weeks of 2025, excluding Monday Night Football, I don't even know if did you figure out if maybe
I did. I'm too lazy to go back and look.
No, I'm just kidding. Because we're going to finish this off, and you guys will know who we're talking about, because there are 2 receivers above 4.00 yards per route run mark. Those guys we've already talked about. Keith just brought them up. Jackson Smith-Njigba, he's got 4.82. Puka Nacua, 4.32. That's per fantasy points data as well. The next closest receiver, not even above 3 yards per route. Justin Jefferson, 2.67. Yeah. So there you go.
That shows, I think, the disparity there. And we're gonna talk about Puka a little bit more here in a minute. And just over 4 yards per route run, even for a 3-game sample size, outrageous. That is getting it done. Somebody who I'm sure if you drafted, you've been very disappointed in is Jeanty, the stud running back from Boise State. But this is why I love data. Is, yes, it's easy to say, man, he sucks. Au contraire, my friend, or not so fast, as my good friend Coach Game Day Lee Corso would say. Because if you look at the percentage of carries that a running back's had where they are contacted a yard or further behind the line of scrimmage. And for those that don't know, a yard is 3 feet. So think about that. Like, they're being contacted 3 feet or further behind the line of scrimmage. Jeanty is first with 34%. You actually see other guys at 2 and 3 who we also are questioning, like, what's up with them. Bucky Irvin in Tampa, who's not been nearly as effective as a runner. 32% of his runs, he's getting contacted a yard behind the line of scrimmage. Chase Brown in Cincinnati, 32%. So it may not actually be these running backs. Case in point, Javonte Williams has the lowest percentage of that, of just 12%. And we're all talking about how great Javonte Williams is running. Jeanty has 144 yards this season on the ground. 145 of them have come after contact. 11 of his 17 attempts Sunday, he was hit behind the line of scrimmage. And if you look for the season, because again, that first stat was just a yard or further, just getting hit behind the line of scrimmage, 57% of his attempts. He's not even making it back to the line of scrimmage before a defender is getting their hands on him. It's tough to run that way. So, yes, it has been a struggle for Jeanty, same thing for Chase Brown, Bucky Irvin, but the offensive line play has such a big part of that. And I appreciate places like Fantasy Points Data who provides this so you can better understand why these issues are occurring.
Yes, I am one of those people that really needs to have it explained, really needs it put out there for me. So having Keith, having Fantasy Points Data, having all of this at our fingertips. Thank you so much. Yes, I'm one of those people that struggles sometimes with the stats part of it. So I'm glad he's got it all spelled out. I'm glad I can help bring it to y'all too, in case you're like me. Let's talk about a joke we brought up last week. Let's talk about the whole Freaky Friday situation we were talking about last week on the show. So we joked last week that Alvin Kamara and Chuba Hubbard might be experiencing the Freaky Friday situation. I'm about to start laughing because, okay, this is because Kamara is basically non-existent in the Saints passing game, and then Hubbard being a vital one for the Panthers.
Oh, big time.
Per Fantasy Points Data, Kamara is seeing 8.3% target share, the lowest of his career. Yeah. Let's talk about some of the running backs with a higher target share for the season, shall we?
Sorry, Nico's hacking back there.
Oh, I thought you were just hacking because I was about to bring up Tyler Beatty. It's Bidet. Tyler Bidet, Trey Benson, and Ty Johnson. Those are the three. Those are three guys that have a higher target share.
Oh my God.
Yeah, those are three guys. So,
and think about how much those guys are on the field.
Yeah.
So for them to be getting a higher number of basically the passing pie chart, right? Like if you look at it that way, if there's 100 throws each week, and 8% of them are going to Kamara, more of them are going to Batty and Benson, and we know they are not playing a high percentage of the snaps. So
yeah,
I don't know what's going on there. Would love to know. Maybe it's a Spencer Rattler thing, but I guess we'll see as the season goes on, and maybe Tyler Shuck eventually becomes the quarterback in New Orleans. The guy that I am just like, I think I'm comfortable now saying is the best wide receiver in football is Puka Nacua. He is on just an absurd run. It was one of the best like hot takes I had going this summer was that he was going to solidify himself as the number one wide receiver in fantasy as long as Stafford stayed healthy. And that is definitely the case because despite not scoring any touchdowns, he leads all of fantasy in wide receiver. And that's because he's on pace for almost 200 targets, 164 receptions, and nearly 1,900 yards. And this is not a small sample size. It's not like we're just looking at these three games. If you go all the way back, his last 14 games that he's played at least 70% of the snaps, he's averaging almost 9 receptions per, right under 11 targets, over 100 yards, 22.86 fantasy points per game. He's had 90 receptions in 11 of those 14 games. Or 90 receiving yards plus in 11 of 14. 9 or more targets in 11 of 14 games. 20 plus fantasy points in 8 of 14. And 17 plus in 11 of 14. And I told you we'd come back to that yards per route run number. Puka is now, for his career, which is just these basically 3 years, averaging over 3 yards per route run. There has never been a wide receiver in the history of football since they have tracked this data that has had a 3-year window of averaging over 3 yards per route run. Puka is doing this as what, a 6th-round rookie in his rookie season, his second season, and the start of his third. I'm just in awe of this dude. It doesn't seem to matter what defenses do. He's going to go off. He's going to get his. He's already played 2 of the toughest defenses in the NFL in the first 3 weeks. And again, he's putting up these unbelievable numbers. So all hail Puka, who in my opinion is now the number 1 wide receiver in football.
Love that. Okay, let's pivot to quarterback talk. We've been talking about some wide receivers. Let's move on to a quarterback real quick. We're going to talk about Jalen Hurts real quick.
We on some apologies, Casey?
I mean, as a Cowboys fan, I don't know if I can, but as a fantasy player, an analyst, a person up here talking to you at least, yeah, I can say, look, let me tell you why. Did I say sorry? I didn't. But let me just he completed 7 of his 9 passes of 10 plus air yards in the second half of week 3 for 154 yards and 2 touchdowns in the Eagles' comeback win over the Rams.
Very
So,
impressive.
yeah, so kind of over the first 10 quarters of the season, he had just completed 2 on 7 passes of 10 plus air yards.
Think about that.
So,
He threw more passes, 10 plus air yards in the second half of that
yeah.
game that he had in the first 2 games. Jalen Hurts
Yeah.
is always somewhere in the middle for me. Like,
Football
he's
for
not
you.
as good as his biggest supporters say he is, and he's nowhere near as bad as like his biggest detractors say. But regardless, no matter what you say, he's a winner. Because
Right.
he's won at
Get it done.
every single level. And he was reminding, Chris Jones at the end of the Chiefs game, scoreboard. So we've got 2 more for you, and then we'll get out of here. So, man, these rookie receivers scoring some touchdowns. Torrey Horton for the Seattle Seahawks, Egbuka for the Tampa Bay Bucks joined a list of only 15 wide receivers since the turn of the century. That's 2000 for those who don't know, to score 3+ touchdowns in their initial 3 games. I'm not going to lie. When I first looked at this list, it's like, wow, that's awesome. And then you look at the names and you're going, ooh, maybe it's not so awesome. Some of the names on that list include the stalwarts, Martavius Bryant, Andre Davis, Roy Williams, John Brown, Alan Hearns, Chancey Stuckey, and Torrey Smith. It's not all bad, folks. There are the Jamar Chase, Terry McLaurin, OBJ, Calvin Ridley, and Percy Harvin, but I don't know where to stand on these guys, knowing that over half the names are receivers that either A, I have no idea who they are, or B, I'm like, man, that guy sucked. So hopefully, especially for my boy Mecca, who is just like one of my favorite dudes coming into the season, that is not a tell of things to come, and they're going to join the Jamar Chase, McLaurin, OBJ group with these guys.
Okay, let's wrap it up with some encouraging snap shares, route participation, some
Ooh,
stats,
some of my favorite
goodies.
stuff.
Yeah, we got some goodies here. So, again, take some notes, guys. Quinshawn Judkins, 58% snap share, which is up 29% from week 2. And he had a 71% snap share in the red zone.
That's big.
And we'll move on to Mr. Woody Marks, 40% snap share. That's up 12% from week 2, and it's up 28% from week 1.
He's available.
He's available. Keep him on your radar. Matthew Golden had an 84% route participation, up 18% from week 2. It's also up 27% from week 1.
Here we go.
Here we go. Trey Benson. Here we go. Following James Conner's injury, not energy, but injury. Sorry.
He lost some energy too.
He did, and so did my fantasy roster.
Amen to that.
But luckily, Trey Benson's there. 74% snap share after Conner's injury. 7 of 9 rush attempts. So he had, looks like he's doing some work there, guys. Just keep him on your radar too. He's out there in a couple of leagues too.
Yes, he is.
Christian Kirk saw 22% target share in his first action with 36% of the air yard share.
He's going to end up seeing significant targets in that offense.
Darnell Mooney, my guy here, 90% snap share. Troy Franklin had 78% snap share, and then Bucky Irving, whose name I cannot pronounce at the moment because of his
Buck. He's a good friend of the show anyway, so.
Buck, Mr. Uncle Buck over here. Great John Candy film. Bucky Irving, 78% snap share, career high 29 touches.
Especially the Franklin and Irving one. The Franklin shows he's part of the Broncos passing game. That's for sure.
Yeah.
The Bucky one, I keep reminding people, Worf has been out. He will be back. And he keeps seeing more and more snaps. And we saw last year what he could do with just like 55% of the snaps. I think if Worf comes back, solidifies that offensive line, still a very good chance Bucky Irvin's like a top 5, top 10 running back rest away. So, as always, this has been fun. I love doing this with you.
I love it,
Kacey.
too. It's so
I
much
hope
fun.
if you have any stats, and I meant to add this last week, put them in the comment.
Yeah.
Whether on the YouTube channel, you can actually, I think, put them on Spotify as well. Like,
Ooh.
give us your favorite stat for week 4. And if we see some good ones, we'll be sure to read them out next week.
Yeah, give you a shout out. That'd be
Yeah. How
real
about that?
fun.
Who doesn't love a shout out?
Shout outs are
come on.
great. Every time I
I
hear
was
my
doing
name on
that
somebody
back.
else's, whew.
Yeah, all I wanted in my bedroom when I was like 12 was to get on like 92.9 or 99.7 and be like, this is going out to all the ladies out there from Keith in Sharpsburg, Georgia. So, did it ever happen? No, it didn't. But that's
Aw.
okay. You know,
Sorry.
I get to podcast now. So much better.
It
But
is. It really is.
for Keith and Kacey, this is Stats You Need to Know, Week 4 edition. We'll see you guys next week.